is at a premium. Okay, so let's talk about some of the tools that we can use over the summer. And we're going to see some new sides of some old databases. First, let's just talk about the State Bar of Georgia's website. You can get there just by Googling State Bar of Georgia. They have this drop down that says for the public. And then two links that I'll point out are the public resources link and the legal resources link. Take some caution with the legal resources link. Some of those can be a little dated. For the librarians in the house, I discovered that it links to Thomas. If you remember Thomas, it's the predecessor to congress.gov. So some of the links are a little old, but it's worth a shot. Same thing with the public resources. They can help you determine things like how to get a hold of legal aid. You may not need to, but in some situations you might. Let's talk about practical law. Practical law is a sub-database of Westlaw. So this is what it looks like when you log into your Westlaw page. Here at this dropdown, you've been clicking log into Westlaw Edge. Now we're going to click into practical law. I asked my undergrads this morning, Cadillacs are still cool. So this is the Cadillac of lawyer in a box services. The firms know you have it, and they probably aren't paying for it. So it is a benefit to you sometimes. I guess not the firms, because that would violate our terms, but the public interest people, or for your own personal knowledge. Like I said, this is functionally lawyer in a box. You still need to do research, and it will point you towards that research that you need to do. So for example, I had surgery around this time last year, and I was able to go down to Trust and Estates. Come on. And then I was able to click on jurisdiction. And they have a whole bunch of Georgia documents for me, including a basic will for a single person if I wanted to do that. And down here, they have advanced directives for healthcare. When you click on this, and you can see it's been updated as of September 22nd, 2021. So that's not too bad. I still might want to do some checking, but it's going to point me to what I need to check. It's a standard document. It could be very plug and play by declarant's name, date of birth, your birth date. And it explains the document before it then gets down to filling in all of the blanks. There are also various notes that you can pop out that will kind of point you in the right direction and link you to code sections if you need to brush up on the code section for some reason. So let's go back. We went straight down to the documents. And the standard documents here. But there is also just these practice notes where you can kind of see, like a treatise that we talked about in legal research, a very clear, practical outline of everything you could possibly want to know about wills in Georgia, including the things you'll have to remember for the bar, like that you have to be at least 14 in order to draft a proper will. Yeah, be at least 14 years old, and then it'll link you to the code section. Have testamentary capacity, and then it links you to the code section for what that means, and the practice note of explaining it further. Like I said, almost lawyer in a box. It is a great tool. If there isn't a jurisdiction specific one, they do have national documents as well. For example, if I'm looking for New Mexico, I don't see New Mexico bumped out here. I can click on all states or national federal. And let's check my sidebar. 4 documents for New Mexico. And I have a standard document, a legal update, which is kind of like a short little, almost like a blog post, and a state Q&A on revocable trusts. Definitely play around with this, have some fun. Any questions about this before we move on? Okay. Another tool that you already have access to that you probably haven't been using is Bloomberg Law. We gave you a sign-in for it, or we had you sign up for it the first week of classes. If you haven't signed up for it, your username is very probably your UGA email address. You may need to reset your password. Bloomberg Law, you don't use a lot in the 1L curriculum, but you do use a lot as you advance in your legal research career. Particularly, there are 3 things. There are these dockets, and then there are these analyzers, brief analyzers, contract drafting, and draft analyzers. They also do news very well, legal news. So if you don't know what a docket is a list of all of the various documents related to a case. So right now I'm going to search for Satan shoes.
That's an emotional roller coaster.
Stan shoes, yes.
Satan shoes, whatever. Satan shoes, hello.
Let's put that in quotation marks too. So here we have I believe this is it. Do we remember when Lil Nas X released Montero? There was a court case surrounding the Satan shoes that he released around that time as well. Nike sued him because essentially he released Nikes with a little drop of blood in them and called them Satan shoes. So if you want to read the Satan shoes complaint, you can come in here and search for things like Satan shoes, or you can search for, this was against Jeffrey Waskiewicz. So this may be kind of an offshoot of that case and not the main case against Lil Nas X himself. But when you click on, let's go back for a second, let me explain that. So this is a list of all of the different documents that are related to that case, beginning with the complaint. If it says view, you can click on it for free. Someone has already pulled that document from the Pacer cloud down for you. And it looks like this. This is a trademark dilution case. So this is against one of the customizers in particular. So it doesn't seem like it's mentioning Lil Nas X at all. But here's the fake custom Terra. And you can read all about it. You can also read the exhibits, which I'm sure are more pictures of more shoes. One thing to watch for is this updated docket link over here. That tells you when they last pulled to see how many documents were on this docket. This is January 2nd, 2022. Let's see what the last thing was. They had a closing report in 2021, so I probably don't need to update this docket. I can just let it ride. Let's go back to Bloomberg Law's main page. Any questions about dockets? Additionally, just like we had our lawyer in the box from Westlaw in the form of Practical Law, These three are Bloomberg's version. They all do roughly the same thing. They take a bunch of term language, or you can upload a file and your brief, and it will see, it will try to link. Let's click here for sample of brief analysis. So it views all of your cited authorities and kind of pulls them for you. So you can kind of double check them here. Again, you're not expected to be a master at these, but these are tools that you have at your fingertips that you can definitely use over the course of the summer. Finally, I just want to point out the particular practice centers that Bloomberg has. If you click on that 9 grid button over, or the lines over here, and then practice centers, we have all of these different kind of hubs. What are you interested in?
Privacy and data. Actually.
Privacy and data. Let's go to that hub. So you can see it gives us this kind of in focus again, this kind of particular blog post, a kind of hub within the hub. But it also gives us in focus, kind of these will change periodically. And news. Bloomberg Law news is always pretty good. And you could change it so that this is the homepage that you reach when you turn on Bloomberg. Smart toothbrush users want biometric privacy claim remanded. That's an interesting news case regarding biometrics and toothbrushes and the Internet of Things. Never forget your sidebars. You can always limit it. If you happen to be at DOJ, you could limit it to just DOJ terms. Let's go through this right quick. Any questions? Yes.
There's no limit to how many dockets we can pull down on Bloomberg, is there?
There is, but you are likely not to reach it. It is a $1,500 cap. I have only run across clinics and things hitting that cap, or $1,500 cap. I said 1,500, yeah. Yeah. And you pull it 10 cents at a time. So you're unlikely to reach it on your own. If you get close, I am sure the library will reach out and contact you. We will have some questions. But any other questions? One last resource that we want to kick off with is the Daily Report online. The Daily Report used to be kind of the legal newspaper of Georgia. You would get it on your desk every morning with your coffee if you were at a big firm. Now it's available online. We are going to be spotlighting it this month. You can find it in our A to Z list, which Rachel showed earlier. And it's just Daily Report online. Let's take a look at it. Research databases, Daily Report online. Quite often on your first few weeks of the job over the summer, they may say, we have nothing for you right now. Please go sit and read the Daily Report or other news sources. So it can be a good place to kind of learn who the movers and shakers are in the Georgia legal scene. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much on behalf of the instruction team. And it's been a pleasure. And just end, Rachel? Or stop.